We're in the offices of Mr. Bruce Margolin, attorney extraordinary.
Thank you.
Well, you must be one of the foremost experts in marijuana law.
I probably am. I've handled more marijuana cases than any other lawyer in the country, I'll tell you that for openers, and successfully as well. And I know all about this issue, and I've been dealing with it for almost 38 years as a criminal defense attorney, getting involved with the reform movement as soon as I became an attorney in 1967.
38 years. Why did you get involved in marijuana law? Why did you choose that?
Well, because I do all kinds of cases, all kinds of criminal cases, but I was shocked as a young lawyer to see that they put these young kids in jail for something as benign as marijuana, and they put them in the same jails and the same lockups as the rapists and the robbers, and they were subject to a lot of abuses. And as a young lawyer who was naive about the unfairness of our system, I was shocked. And I proceeded to think we got to do something more outside the courtroom than we're doing here at this point.
You know, I can't help but wonder, you're in West Hollywood, and West Hollywood has 7 operating medical marijuana dispensaries, and they kind of gravitated to West Hollywood, and I can't help but wonder if possibly the very fact that your offices were here kind of made them choose West Hollywood to start up in the Netherlands.
I don't know if I have that big of an effect. I mean, I don't know. I think that some people hold me in higher stead than I might be responsible for, but most people recognize my participation in this thing has been very effective. I have been involved with the legislature. I've been involved with it going up to Sacramento. I've talked to many legislators. And right now, for example, I'm working on a campaign which maybe some of your listeners will have some ideas of how to help. I'm working on trying to free 35 people that are serving life sentences in our state of California institutions for marijuana. And you say, how can that happen? Well, under the 3 strikes law in California, any third felony, it could be a felony marijuana cultivation, possession of marijuana while in the jail, I just talked to a guy today, and other felony offenses like possession for sale or sales can put someone in the place of going to jail for life if they have 2 prior strikes. And unfortunately, there are 35 lowly souls that are now sitting in prison for life. So I'm very anxious to try to get some legislation that would overturn the 3 strikes, at least in that area. You know, there are several 3-strike referendums and initiatives going on, but none of them seem to be really taking hold. I think that some legislator will see the light here and at least bring before the legislation, carve out an exception for marijuana offenses and would free these 35 people.
For a patient, what is the best way that they can protect themselves from running to follow the law?
Well, first of all, patients in California are not criminally liable.
Right.
So the criminal laws do not affect qualified patients in the state of California. And under SB 420, which is the Senate Bill 420, coincidentally the name 420, which was passed in 2003, established that marijuana patients are exempted from laws involving possession for sale, transportation, cultivation, and all the other areas except for sales for profit. They cannot sell to each other or sell to other persons for profit, but they can share their marijuana in collectives and co-ops. And so, in fact, patients are not illegal in the state of California. But, unfortunately, the law is only as good as those who enforce it and those who interpret it. So we have many police agencies that are very resistant to the laws. We have many judges that just don't want to listen to these laws. They just simply can't accept the fact that the laws are as they are. And it's going to take time for us to be able to enforce these laws in the courtroom and to convince the judges and the DAs that these cases shouldn't even be prosecuted, let alone should they be in the court. We don't have many cases in the Court of Appeal describing how to interpret the SB 420 laws, or even Prop 215. They're few and far between. Prop 215 provided that medical marijuana patients could only cultivate and possess. But SB 420 expanded the medical marijuana laws to give much greater protections to the individuals, and those laws are in place, and in time the courts and the police will finally get up to speed and recognize that patients are not criminals in the state of California. However, there is the federal laws that don't recognize medical marijuana, even though federal courts do not prosecute, cops don't prosecute small medical marijuana patients, and they don't go after them because they ain't got the time or the energy. nor will the federal judges do anything about punishing them. But those laws are in place, so they are exposed to federal prosecution.
Right. Yeah. You're with LA NORML, is that correct?
Yes.
Tell us about NORML. Could you tell us about?
Well, NORML is a national organization reforming marijuana laws. It started in 1973. We've put on functions to support people that are involved with the reform of the marijuana laws. And NORML has maintained, I think, a respectful, responsible voice in the area of reforming marijuana laws. We provide experts in the hearings that come up. We provide advice to attorneys that are part of NORML that will give clients the time of the day at least and give them some heads up. And we do what we can to represent the consumer and the people out there that feel that marijuana should not be a crime, whether you're a patient or not. Whatever person's reasons or person's using marijuana, we feel that that's their individual right, a constitutional right to make that decision for themselves. And we're working and working and working to finally end the prohibition against marijuana use.
Well, now, what could you tell our viewers? What can they do to bring about this change? What can one
first of all, they can write their congressman telling them how ridiculous it is that federal laws don't recognize medical marijuana. Additionally, they can make sure that they exercise their rights. If they have a medical issue that they feel that a doctor will recommend their use of medical marijuana, they should go out and talk to their physicians about that and tell them why they use it. And they should stand up for their rights and not be afraid to do it, because rights are only good if they're exercised. And if we don't exercise our rights and we don't protect our rights, we don't have them. So I suggest that the viewers do two things. Get educated, support politicians that recognize the relevancy and the importance of our rights to use marijuana, whether medicinally or otherwise, and write letters to letters of editors, join organizations, get involved on the level of personal involvement by joining someone like NORML, for example. They go to calnormal.org and they'll find more about NORML, or norml.org. And spend $25, become a member, keep informed, and stand up for your rights.
Right, you got it. And support your local organization like MAP, too.
Absolutely.
NORML.
MAP is a terrific organization, and someone like Lanny Swerdlow, I mean, he's
all right, hold on.
You are a freedom fighter, and I know that I don't want to pander you in front of all these audiences out here, but you're one of the few people that I've seen individually have gone out there and put himself on the line. And I received emails from you. I know what you're doing right now is an example of what a person could do to be involved. And if they are living in your area, MAP is a terrific organization, a very responsible, very vocal, and very strong advocate of the rights of these medical marijuana users in particular. And that's what you could do. Join Swerdlow in his campaign and get out there and come to those meetings and raise your hands when you see these politicians avoiding the subject of these rights.
Yeah.
So if you listen to Lenny and get involved.
There you go. Bruce, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We appreciate everything you've done and look forward to seeing you again.